Hello! Hey guys, it's Brittini and Jen here with Ambition After Hours, and welcome to another episode.
We're very excited. I'm very excited about this one in particular because I'm so excited about my high.
Okay, great. So today we're talking about how badass you are.
Because you, my friend, are a badass.
So this is a book that was written by Jen Sincero. I'm going to say, I probably butchered that, but, and I bought it in my second year of business, and I think I've read it 4 times since. So we're going to break it down. You've listened to it, I've listened to it and read it. So we're going to go into that today and talk a little bit about some of the hacks she has in the book and some of the stuff that, like, we really need to get over, I think.
Yeah, agreed. Also, if you haven't listened or read it, it's kind of funny. Like, it's hilarious. She has a great sense of humor. And I think for those of us who are a little skeptical about, you know, some of the things we're going to talk about today, the humor really makes it more palatable.
For sure.
For the, you know, sarcastic cynics of the world.
As I was re-listening to this book for the 3rd time, there were some spots in there where I was like, I wonder what Jen thinks about this. Because if you know the both of us, I'm definitely a little bit more woo-woo than Jen is. But I think she's coming over to the dark side.
I am. I've been sending Brittany a lot of astrological reels from Instagram lately, so
yeah,
you know,
which have been scary accurate also. But it wouldn't be an Ambition After Hours episode if we didn't talk about our high and our low. Jen, why don't you kick us off with your high, because you seem really excited about it.
I am so excited about it. So for those of you who like golf, we're in the Masters. It's happening now. And every year I go in a master's pool that's put on by one of my husband's friends named Chris. And every year I'm the only girl in the pool. And last year I finished 2nd, and it was so close. And this year, I mean, it's only Friday, as my husband says. But this year I am in 2nd spot. I'm only 1 stroke behind Chris. So that's my high, because I'm the only girl in the pool and I'm killing it. And also, like, even though you don't listen to this podcast, I'm coming for you, Chris. I'm coming for you.
Tell the listeners what your name is.
Oh, it's for the girls. F-O-R-E, the girls. Because I'm so clever.
She's probably the cleverest person I know. I think my high this week, my high this week is reading this book and remembering, like, what a badass I am. I think, like, you know, we'll get into it, right? Like, when you're in your head, you might be an entrepreneur, you might be, you know, trying to start something, you can really, like, go in and dig on yourself and, like, oh, maybe I'm not good at this, or is it me that's causing this? And honestly, like, she says in the book, and I was, like, kind of re-listening to it on my way here, she says, like, girl, you are the only you that's ever going to exist. Like, you are special. So then I was like, yeah, I'll help you hyping myself up. I was like, I am the shit.
See, that's the difference between Brittany and I. She thought, yeah, I'm special. I'm the shit. And my first thought was, God help us if there were 2 of me.
Yeah, so I think, like, re-listening to this book was a high, because, like, also, like, gave me a little bit of nostalgia of, like, when I started my business. And, like, for those of you guys that know or may not know, like, next week is my 10-year anniversary of my business, so this was, like, kind of cool to revisit it.
Yeah. And I think we need a Fox and Forth turns 10 girls trip this summer. Right?
Yeah, I'd be totally down for that.
Okay, we'll plan that.
Like a couple of days in the mountains or something.
Yeah. Love that.
Look at us planning. But okay, so what was your low though?
My low is that I'm feeling guilty for being a bad wife. as some of my friends call him, I'm married to the nicest guy in Edmonton. And I'm an accountant, which means that April, I eat, sleep, and breathe personal income tax returns. And I also married the nicest guy in Edmonton who was born on April 9th. And so I was looking back at Facebook when we had gone out for dinner last night, and I was looking at all the cute things I used to do for him. Like this one time I broke into his house, like when we were dating, and I had a broken foot at the time, so I had to get my dad to drive me there. And on crutches, I like went around his house and like strategically placed gifts so that when he got home, there'd be all these gifts. Like yesterday, didn't even have a card. I had no card. Like I woke up, I went to work, I came back late, and then took him to the sushi place that's across the street from our house. I'm gonna fix it because like on Sunday, because it's the Masters, we always like, and also it's his birthday, we will go virtual golfing and I'll take him for brunch and we'll have a nice day. So I'll take the day off on Sunday. But that never used to be enough. Like I used to also do something cute like on his actual day. And this year I've failed. Big F. So I feel bad about that. That's my low for this week. I was a shitty partner this week, guys.
You know what? I usually have some like best friend thing to say here.
There's nothing. No. There's no excuse.
You fumbled the ball.
I did.
I mean, that's okay.
In other words, I feel low and I freaking should feel low. All right, let's move on.
You said you make it up, so I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know? My low today, to be candid, is like, you know, as in Barb's words, sometimes people leave, you know?
Yeah, that's a Barb classic.
Yeah. And so, like, someone who's worked for me for quite a while has left or is leaving, and I understand why. Like, you know, I hate to see them go, but I love to watch them grow, you know? So that's what I'm feeling crappy about. I was like, you know, you're moving on, and I'll miss you, and all that good stuff. So yeah, I think that was my low this week. It was just like shitty news that I didn't want.
Yeah.
You know? But, I mean, another person I get to mentor and help will come on the team. And
you're so great at that. Look at all the amazing things that people have learned from you and went on to do with their lives. You should feel amazing about that.
Oh, yeah. Like, yeah. Yeah. I get it. I think that's like, honestly, I was like, is this my life purpose? Is like to be like a mentor to people, or like, you know, a little bit like of an influence. Not that I'm like a super mentor, like do this, do that, but like, you know, an influence at least.
Yeah.
Could be. Who knows? But yeah, let's jump in, because this book I feel like feels like a slap and a hug at the same time.
Yeah, I would say that that's accurate. Yeah.
So if you don't know, she ends every chapter with "love yourself." Like, ugh. This is why I'm like, I wonder what Jen would think. You know? So, I mean, the tone is like blunt, funny, inspirational, but also like get the F out of your own way.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate, because sometimes I need to hear that.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I need like, can you just stop and look inside yourself for a second, you know? That's what I need.
So, you wanted to know what I thought about this book.
Yeah.
And I have read it before, and I do find her humorous, and I love that. And I did mean to say to you, or think I said to you, I can't remember, that currently I actually really needed to listen to this book.
What made you say that, though?
Because there's been some really interesting things happening.
No, but like, I know what's happening.
Yeah.
Of course, we're all going through shit. But like, what in the book were you like, oh fuck, I need to hear that?
You know, in a lot of ways, the book for me is about just like relaxing and letting the right things happen, or taking the advice of the things that are happening to you. Like, pay attention and be appreciative for the signals the universe is sending you. And it just puts like a nicer, better context, because my first instinct is just like, do more, drive harder. And in spite of the feedback, that the universe has been giving me about that particular strategy. And so I think I just needed someone to, be a little, I want to say, soft about it, and remind me to think, hey, things happen for a reason.
Yeah.
This is just data. I need to interpret this data and take from it what I want and leave the rest.
Yeah, I think it's in chapter, I want to say like 5 to 7. She says, like, listen, you're going to be hard on yourself, or like you're going to fuck up. You're going to do things, make mistakes, but like you need to forgive yourself for that. And sometimes like we might not think like we're holding a grudge against ourselves, but we like are,
Yeah.
And like for me, I don't know about you, but for me, when I fuck up or like something bad happens and I like, I take it really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I strive, and maybe it's like my personality, my type A personality, but like I strive to be perfect.
Yeah.
And when I'm not, I'm like, ugh.
I'm reading another book right now called The Perfectionist, maybe. And it
Accurate.
has all the different types of perfectionists in there, and apparently I fall under intense perfectionist. Shocking, right? Yeah. I think for me, it wasn't so much about being nice to myself about making the mistakes. It was listening to the things in the universe. Like, listen to what the universe is telling you.
Yeah, well, okay, in like later in the book, I'm not sure what chapter, but she talks about like literally like your body telling you the answers. Like, she's like, like they always say like gut feeling, but like your gut feelings can come in like, like racing heart, upset stomach, palms are sweaty, like goosebumps, like all these things. And I was like, holy shit, maybe like, because like we always say listen to your gut, and we all have like, internal feelings, but it's like that self-awareness. So this book is like less, I would say, businessy, like something like we kind of run on that like business side of things, but it's more like self-awareness and like belief systems and personal responsibility. So like it's really a book for anyone, just to get your poop in a group.
Yeah, I think it's really mindset. I mean, the overreaching theme is change your mind, change your life.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, that is the theme of the book. And she talks about like how to do that. And like she does even say, I think in the book at one point, like, this is gonna sound woo-woo.
Yeah. I'm sure you thought of me when
100%.
she said that. I thought of me when I said that. Actually, I thought of you saying that to me.
You, yeah.
Yeah. I don't, am I skipping ahead in our outline? Maybe. Do we talk about the meditation chapter in here?
No, we
Okay,
don't.
can we talk about the meditation chapter in here?
Yeah, sure.
I would like to know, faithful listeners,
Yeah.
who of you has mastered and consistently practices the art of meditation? I understand all the benefits. I actually read a book that's called 10% Happier, and it's all about how meditating can make you 10% happier. And I was like, well, that sounds great. And I cannot,
Like, zone in.
I guess maybe I can't make myself believe that there's a benefit of sitting and doing nothing. Enough to make myself do it on a regular, consistent basis, enough to get good at it. There is currently a snowball's chance in hell that I could sit in one place for 120 seconds without thinking about anything. And I get all the science behind it. I really do. And I want to embrace it. I need to know, because whenever you read a meditation book, it says it may take 5 sessions. It may take 105 sessions. You may master it in a week. You may master it in 10 years. Like, just give me, I need to know exactly how many times I'm going to have to sit there trying not to think about anything before it starts to not feel awful.
I think this is why you probably need meditation. But I think I don't know if you remember it in the book, but she says, like, she starts talking about meditation, but she's like, meditation is different for everybody.
Yeah.
Like, some meditations can be like runner's high. Some meditations could be like driving. Some meditations can be like coloring. It's like, you have to find your right meditation. So maybe your meditation isn't like ohming out. Maybe it's like beating the shit out of a punching bag.
I mean, that I could get behind. All right. Maybe I'll try doing that every day for 5 minutes, because I do have a punching bag. It was a Valentine's gift from the nicest guy in Edmonton. So maybe I'll try that and see. It was just interesting as I was listening to that chapter, because I was like, oh, I really need to listen to this book. And then we got to the meditation part and I was like, here we go again.
Yeah. But okay, on that, like, you find your own meditation like wavelength, and like it might be working out and stuff. She also like says like your body internally also needs to reflect externally to match the energy, right? Because this whole book is about shifting your energy. It's about shifting your thought process, shifting your energy, because if you're at a low frequency, you're not going to get anything that you desire. You have to shift it. I'm the worst person at like being consistent and like moving.
Like moving your body?
Yeah. Like, she's like, okay. She's like, you can scream the affirmations. And I thought about that this morning when I was listening to it. She's like, just yell the affirmations. And I'm like, could you imagine? Like, I probably look so stupid. And then I'm like, why am I worried that I'm going to look stupid at home alone? You know, like, but she was like, get your body into it, because when you're like saying your affirmations and like you're pumping your fist, or you're like jumping up and down, or like, you know, your body is into it with your mind, it's like 10 times more powerful. And then I was like worried about how stupid I would look, but then she talks about it in like chapter 12 or something about like let's talk about your goals, right? Like, say you want to write a book, and you want to write a book about this certain topic, and you're like, oh, I don't want to write the book because people are gonna like think it's like woo woo, right?
Yeah.
And then she was like, well, what do you feel like? Well, how does that make you feel? And she's like, well, it makes me feel like a little bit shameful and embarrassed and like, you know, weirded out. And she was like, okay, well, how would you feel if you didn't write the book and you just kept doing? And she was like, well, I'd feel like shameful that I didn't write the book and like let myself down. And she was like, okay, well, if you're gonna feel shameful either way, why not do the thing?
Yeah, that's true.
You know? And then she talks about like, you know, how like we get in our own way, right? We're fearful.
Yeah.
And that's usually why we stop doing the things we do, because we get to a point and we're like, woo, this feels so different. I don't want to do it anymore. And she talks about like, think about a time that you were really scared to do something.
Yeah.
And then she was like, now think about doing that thing now, and like, are you scared to do it? And you'd be like, no, I'm not scared to do it. And it was funny because I would always say, hey, I'm only scared to do something once. Right?
Yeah.
And I say that all the time, but I probably, because I like read this book, but I think that rings true too, right? Like, we get in our own way when we're like scared to do something, because it gets to a point where it's the unknown and our brain is like, safety, take me back to safety.
It's true. And I don't know who was I talking to you. Sorry, my memory is horrible in April. I was saying to somebody how terrified I was to start my firm, but how I was younger then, and you know, I had less things riding on it, less responsibilities, less permanent relationships, all those kinds of things. So it was much easier for me to take the risk. And sometimes the more that I feel I have to risk, the harder it is to make big moves. But the other thing to remember, I think, about that is the risks that you took got to where you are. So you have good instincts, right? Even though you have more to lose, you have way more skills, or I have way more skills now that would help me get to wherever I want to go faster than I did back then. But it's so interesting, things that we make out to be so much bigger than they are, about the comforts and things that we have in our life now that we perceive as barriers, but are probably the opposite of that.
Yeah, or like just like internal barriers. Like, she talks about like when you're a child and you're born, like, you're perfect. Everyone thinks you're perfect. You think you're perfect. You have no perceived thoughts about yourself. You're just living, right? And then it's so weird that like we go from this like I am who I am when you're a kid to like all of these things we think about ourselves as adults, and you would think like as you grow older you would think you would get more confident in that, but really we get less confident in that.
Yeah, that's true. Do you think people avoid books like this because they know it'll call them out to like do the big scary things?
I think people avoid books like this because they don't believe in the woo-woo. But I think like if we talk about like science and energy, and like this book is about shifting your energy, it's not so woo-woo to think like if you shift your energy to like good, that good things are going to happen.
I've been testing this with my golf.
Oh, okay.
Remember how I said, I don't know how many episodes it was ago, maybe it was even the first one of the year, where, and I had forgotten to do this for a little while, but where I was trying to wake up every morning and say, something wonderful is going to happen to me today. And before I went to bed, I would say, something wonderful is going to happen to me tomorrow. And I started to remember, because, you know, things have been tough at this time of year, I started to remember what that felt like and some of the things that would happen. And lately, my golf game has forgotten to show up when I go golfing, and it's been irritating to me. So I was like, hey, I remember I used to say before we went golfing, I think something wonderful is going to happen today. And those are the times I got the best scores. Yeah. So I tried it again the other day. I was playing bad, and I was like, you know what? It's just the first hole. No worries. I feel like something wonderful is going to happen to me today. And my golf game improved. And I don't know, it's probably just because it made me feel relaxed and like I wasn't sure if I believed it or whatever. But the point of the story is that I've been paying attention to and noticing the kinds of things that happen after I say, you know what, it's fine. Something wonderful is going to happen today. And I don't know if it's the energy shift or if it's just that then you notice and pay more attention to the good things, which we're naturally predetermined not to do because, you know, we used to get chased by elephants and be starving and things like that. Yeah. Lions, probably more than elephants. I don't know why I said elephant. Anyway, and now we don't, but we have that like fight or flight response to things that don't need it. So maybe that's part of the reason why. But I have to say, this whole like something wonderful is going to happen to me, it really does
shift.
It really does work. That's right, Brittany. I said it. It works. So there you go. I am now woo-woo. Yeah. Just like my bestie.
She's officially come over to the woo-woo side. But you know what? Like if we don't have woo-woo, what the fuck do we have?
Yeah.
You know, if I'm not thinking about energy and universe and flow, what the fuck? And like it might not be energy like universe and flow for you, it might be God and whatever, or whatever you believe in, but like if you don't have that, what do you got?
Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah. And you know, a lot of the things that we think, or the operating systems of our life, like you said earlier, happen between what, childhood and early adulthood. She talks a little bit about that.
Yeah.
And I work with a coach, actually two coaches, one on the business side and one on the more personal side. And a lot of the feedback is noticing things and noticing what you're thinking when you make that action or when you don't make that action, or noticing how you respond. And the book suggests, not exactly in these words, that you spend a lot of time figuring out what your regular mode of operating is and what belief it's built on.
Yeah.
And that is very hard work, but it's also scary to me. I know a couple of things that I automatically operate on, like achievement equals love, like worthless without accomplishment. Like those are some of the very, you know, healthy thoughts that my life runs on.
Yeah.
And now that I notice them, it's a bit easier to manage them. But I was thinking to myself as I was listening to that chapter, for sure there are others.
Oh, for sure. I'm sure we have lots of others that we operate on. Like 100%.
And I am struggling to make myself sit down and do the writing that she suggests to come up with those things, because I think it would be really uncomfortable and kind of gross.
Yeah, but also like eye-opening to be like, why the hell do I feel like almost like that's like an adult thing to do, you know, like, and we're just like avoiding it. It's like we should probably do that because it's like mentally healthy to know those things, but it like also, like you said, feels gross.
And once you know, then you're responsible to change it.
Yeah, and that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And how much internal work can you really do? No, I'm just kidding. That was a joke.
Please do the internal work.
Yeah, haha, joke. But yeah, no, I agree with you. There's probably tons that, you know, we don't even know we have.
Yeah, and I think if you listen to the jokes that people make about who you are, underneath that joke...
No, the jokes you make about yourself.
Oh, yeah, the jokes you make about yourself.
Yeah.
The self-deprecating humor. She talks a lot about that.
Yeah.
That those are the underlying beliefs. And
also, she says don't do that because those become beliefs.
Okay, but I already did that 4 times in this episode. That is the only humor that I know how to do. And in the book, she says that's lazy humor, I think is the word she uses. And when I heard that, I just wanted to like shut it off. I was like, I'll tell you what, I am hilarious, and I use self-deprecating humor, and I'm not lazy. So I had to take a break for a minute because I was a little bit irritated by that. But she's not wrong.
No.
But anyway, now I'm not going to be funny anymore.
Oh,
You're all going to be...
We're going to be like, sad. Oh, she loves herself too much, huh?
Yeah. Who wants to listen to that on a podcast? Yeah. No, I'm just kidding. I love myself, and I'm also still entertaining on the podcast.
Oh my God.
Don't leave me.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
You're ridiculous.
Yeah, I am.
So she also talks about like clinging to those beliefs because we feel safe, and we talked about that. Like, oh, changing my beliefs feels weird, right? Mm-hmm. Even if they're limiting. She says you'd rather be like right than free. And I feel like that is like a belief that I believe in.
That is literally my whole life. Like,
we're toxic.
Just kidding. No. Just kidding, kids.
No, I think like...
The thing about free is scary.
Yeah, free is scary. But, okay, so then we talk about like, you know, why do people start their own businesses? Freedom. Or like, what? You know what I mean? Like, yes. Like what a fucking sham that fucking was, right? Like, what a lie. No, I mean...
It depends how you define freedom. Let's be clear.
Yeah, exactly. You have to work hard if you're going to start a business. Point blank in the period, right? Like, that is just it. But people, like, get scared when there's, like, when it's all riding on you. Like, she talks about when she bought that car, right? She, like, went to the dealership and she was like, no, I'm going to go get the Toyota. The Toyota is safe. I know I can afford the payments. And then she ended up in an Audi dealership, and she like drove the car, and it's like, she says like the seats were so nice, like you could have sex with the leather, like they were like so nice, right? And then she was like, no, I'm gonna get the car. I have no idea how I'm gonna pay for the payments, but I want the car. So she ended up buying the car, and she's like, sometimes the universe just like propels you in, like, that's the universe propelling you into the next like phase of your life. It's like, not that you should go out and blow all your money and spend all the things, but she didn't have a clue, but she was like, okay, universe, I have to do this. And she opened it up, and now she has a car.
2 things to say about that as an accountant. 1, in case you don't already know this, anytime you walk into a car dealership, they are going to tell you can afford anything that you want, and they are not correct. The second thing is, as an accountant, before I read this book, I did that with an Audi.
Oh, okay.
My car was not going to make it through another winter. And my boyfriend at the time was obsessed with Audis. So every now and again, when there was a dealership close to his place, we would like drive through. And there was this pretty little red car. And I was like, oh, it's so cute. And then one day I was like, oh, I'm going to go look at it. And then they're like, test drive it. And I was like, I will not test drive this until I can make sure I can make the payments. So I did a lot of math, and we had just opened our business. Like, I think I was a year in, not even. So not a lot of clients, not a lot of money. And no matter how big I made the balloon payment at the end, which also not an accountant type thing to do. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
It still looked really scary, but I did it anyway. And you would be surprised at how easy it is to go to every freaking networking event on the planet to get clients when you get to pull up in a car that you know you cannot afford, but you know you have to make the payments for. And so the first time I read this book like ages ago, I was reading this chapter and I was like, see, I did something right. Because when I pulled up...
You manifested it, dude.
I manifested it. When I pulled up to... I sublet from Barb at the time. And when I pulled up, and Barb was also my mom, to the office in this shiny new fancy red car, the look on her face...
She probably wanted to murk you.
Was just like, what in the actual fuck were you thinking? But I believe instead of that, she said, well, I guess you better get a lot of clients. And so that's what I did, kids.
Yeah. So, point proven.
Yeah.
You are literally point proven from the book.
Yeah. Although I'm not condoning buying things you can't afford generally, I do understand that the essence behind it is sometimes you have to jump and then trust yourself that you're going to do whatever it takes to make it work.
Yeah.
Like, had I just still sat in my office and not worked harder and just been like, the clients will come, that would have not been in line with, I think, what she suggests, which is, you know, like, do the scary thing, but then you still have to do the work. There's a part in there where she talks about that. Like, that she's not saying that you can just say, you know, I want to have a podcast that has 200,000 monthly downloads. I do, by the way.
Hey.
And then just sit there and not make content and not research and not do the work it takes to put on a podcast. Like, you have to make episodes, you have to do marketing, you have to talk to people, you have to tell them about it, you have to do all those things. So she's saying in there, she is very clear about how you have to believe that it is happening for you, but you also have to do the things.
Yeah. And she talks about like accountability on that, right? Like it's one thing to write down your goals. I want a podcast with lots of listeners. I want to live on a beach. I want this, I want that. But like, then it's like, how do you hold yourself accountable? I mean, we all know, like, get an accountability buddy. I like when she's like, in the book, she's like, oh yeah, like, get an accountability buddy. Get your best friend to come to your house and spray paint I'm a lard ass on your garage door if you're not working out.
Oh my god.
And I was like, you know what, that would be motivating. And I'm that person that works really well with accountability. Like, if I know I have a set meeting and I have to like show up and report for that meeting, I'll do it. I'll do the damn thing. And that's just how my mind works. And I think a lot of people like would benefit from, she talks in the book, like, even though she's a coach, she's like, get a coach, get someone to hold you accountable, because it only helps you like exceed to your goals 10 times faster.
Yeah, that's true. I think too, you can do that with your friends. And I say that because the internet.
Okay.
Because when you're starting a business, you need accountability, but you also don't have a lot of funds. So for those of you who are in the stage of life, although she does have a story in here about someone who paid a mass amount of money for a coach and then did all the things the coach suggested, and it was very profitable. I do think that just be careful on the internet, kids.
Yeah, like,
there's a lot of
there's lots of great marketing out there,
and then there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Out there who sell coaching, and they're different people.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think like there's like some serious coaching programs that like can cost you some serious money, and she talks about that. Like, some guy invested like $50,000 into a coaching program, worked out for him, but I mean, like, then you have to almost be like delusional that like your shit is gonna work, right? Like, the goals you're working towards are gonna work. So I think, yes, believe in yourself. Yes, get people to hold you accountable, but know at the end of the day, like, it's you pushing shit forward.
Yeah.
It's not luck.
You know, speaking of that, I think we should promise to do one thing for the next 30 days, and then we can talk about, like, in our shorts if it worked or not.
Yeah, we could do that. Sure. But first, I want you to tell me what your go-to self-sabotage move is when something actually starts going okay.
It's a good question. It depends on which thing. So if I start consistently working out, how I sabotage that is by saying I have to work and working a ton of hours.
That is my also self-sabotage. Sorry, I gotta work.
Yeah.
After I got sick this year, had to get my gallbladder out. It was like a whole thing. And then after I got out of the hospital, I was like, I'm a changed woman. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to move my body. No, you want to know what I wake up and do every morning? Well, first, I check all my reels from Jen. Then I get out of bed. I go downstairs. I make a tea, let the dogs out. Then I'm in my office.
Yeah.
You know, like, that habit is so hard to break.
Yeah.
But then it goes back to okay, let's talk about why you do that.
Yeah.
You know, and then you have to face the ugly about why you do that.
Yeah.
Which I think we should do a face the ugly, not on camera, but off camera. You know, because
we're not there yet. Do you know what?
Yeah.
If we hit 200,000 downloads a month, I will air out all my self-loathing psychological garbage for your entertainment on this podcast, but not a second before we have 200,000 monthly downloads.
Yeah.
So how bad do you want to hear all my emotional garbage, guys?
Yeah. I could
Let
tell
me
you
entertain you.
some good garbage. That is it. But I think the point of this is if you're serious about changing your life, you'll find a way. And if you're not, you'll find excuses.
Yeah. In conversations that I've had with my mom over the past 6 months to a year, because there's been a lot of transition in my life, she always says, and the other day she got so mad at me about it that she hung up on me.
Oh my gosh.
Stop saying that about yourself because you're going to make it true. And I'm always just yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then I beak off about how, everybody hates me and the world is awful and blah, blah, blah. And the next time, the last time it happened, she's like, I swear to God, if you don't stop saying bullshit stuff about yourself, click. And I was like, actually, I think she said, I have to go, click. And I was like, okay.
My mom's mad.
She's pissed.
Yeah.
But she's right. We're hardest on ourselves. And even if that's all you take from this book and you have a little bit of entertainment, I think all of that hooey, woo-woo, meditation, affirmation stuff, for me, it boils down to the person that should be nicest to you is you. And if you can't even be nice to yourself and believe in yourself and, hold yourself accountable and do the things and treat yourself with the love and respect you deserve, how in the hell do you expect anyone else in your life to do that?
Yeah. Yeah, and you attract what you are, right? Not what you want.
Yeah, so for the assholes out there,
watch out.
If there's only assholes in your life, I challenge you to look in the mirror.
Yeah. So I'm glad, I had one of the questions on here about, did you feel this was too woo-woo for you? But obviously not. I've pulled her into the woo-woo side.
I'm going to say every day for the next 30 days, when I wake up in the morning and before I go to bed, something wonderful is going to happen for me tomorrow, or I feel like something wonderful is going to happen to me today. And every time I do it, I'm going to put a little star on my calendar, and I'm going to do it for 30 days without fail, and I'm going to do it out loud. And I'm also going to do it out loud before I golf because I need a better score. And then I will report back on what happened, because I think it would be an interesting experiment, because when I was doing it, I wasn't doing it consistently, and I'd like to see how much my world will change when I apply a little consistency.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's also a mindset shift.
Yeah.
So some tools she says that we can use are gratitude practices. I'm so thankful for XYZ, 3 things in your life, visualization, which I feel I'm kind of bad at that one, visualizing what my life, because she's at one point in the book, she's visualize what you want your life to look like. And in my brain, I was I want to be in Italy. I'm that's where I want to be. I want to be in Italy. Maybe that's the visualization I need to take in order to get to the next thing, right? Or she talks about act as if. Like, act as if you are already living your dream. And it could be like, not like go out and buy the Land Rover or go out and buy the Audi or whatever. It could be like show up, like dress for it.
Yeah.
You know, playlist for it. You know, like all of these things, speak towards it, right?
Yeah.
And I think like that's a huge shift, because like going back to when she talks about mindset and like just saying your affirmations or like moving your body, like changing your appearance to match it. You know, so I think like this summer, like I want to be a pro at golf, so I'll be showing up with like all my pro golf attire and see if that changes my game, right?
Literally, I only do sports where the outfits are cute, and that is one of the reasons I got into golf.
Yeah.
I tried tennis too, but there was no way I was ever getting good at that, and it's a lot of running, but it also has a cute outfit. But yeah, golf, cute outfits, I'm here for that.
Yeah, and we have an exciting episode on that actually coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
But I think today, or this book today, whatever, I'm looking at it as I have to shift my mindset. Sometimes I can get like really like Eeyore-esque, you know? Like womp womp. And I feel now that spring is like trying to come, even though like we're getting snow after snow, I feel like there's a shift. And like, goodbye winter, we're in a new season, spring is here, new beginnings. This is a great book to like start reading.
Yeah. And with that, is it time for our breakdown?
Yeah.
So I think 3 things that I would take from this book and from this episode is, for the cynics and the sarcastic self-deprecators like me, get over yourself and just try it. Literally, what's the worst that could happen? Pick one thing that you're going to say nice to yourself every day and just do it.
Right.
The second thing I would take from this book is, if you don't believe that you can be the person, have the thing, then nobody else will, and the universe won't support that either. So I think you have to spend a lot of time believing in yourself, which sounds so Pollyanna, but really is true. And the third thing I would take from this book, and other people might take different things, is that believing that you can do something and then taking action through the fear towards it is not woo-woo. I mean, really, it's a best practice for goal setting and then doing what it takes to get there. So what I love about this book, and what I think kind of the overreaching takeaway is you have to believe that you can do it first, whether that's loving yourself or meditating or affirmations, or in my case, trying to punch a punching bag and think about nice things at the same time, whatever works for you. But if you don't believe it, nobody else will. And
that was 3.
That you have to do things to get there.
Yeah.
So that was like 5 or 6 things. I'm off my game. It's April. Give me a break.
Anyways, guys, with that said, that's a wrap on our episode today. Don't be scared to follow us on Instagram and YouTube, and listen to us on Apple and Spotify. Until next time.
Later, leaders.
Later, gators.